Indian women love.
Yes. But you keep them pretty natural, like you don't try to over stylize them.
Yeah. So I like to keep them like pretty thick and natural.
Yeah, which is good because that's what everyone likes.
So we're done with skin, right?
Yes. Well, we put some foundation on, which you don't need very much. That's a really nice thing. And I think
Maybe a little bit of conceal the redness.
Yep. It's like discoloration, a little bit of redness. You know, foundation really should be used like where you need it, not masking the face.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Hi everyone. Welcome to Nykaa's Facebook Live. We're at Bobbi Brown headquarters in New York, and I have with me Mark Reagan.
Hello.
We're celebrating the launch of Bobbi Brown Cosmetics on Nykaa.com, and Mark is going to take us through the products and looks that are great for Indian women today in this segment.
Yeah. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm really excited about Nykaa launching Bobbi Brown because I think, you know, Bobbi's makeup is it's amazing for everyone, but I think especially Indian women that have very particular skin tones, it can be a struggle to find perfect makeup.
Absolutely, it can, and I think that's what we're going to be discussing today also a little bit more of. And if viewers have any questions, feel free to ask questions to Mark, and he'll be answering all those questions about Indian skins and tones and different concerns that Indian women have.
Yeah, and you've been using Bobbi makeup for a while.
I have, yeah. I've been, I can't remember the number of years, but it's been quite a while, and as we discussed, I love some of the foundations. I feel that they're such a perfect match for my skin tone and the undertones, and they just bring out, and textures also just bring out the best in my skin.
Yeah. Well, I was super excited to know that you were already a user. So when
already a fan.
Yeah, already a fan. So when we were going over products, you know, you were like, I use that, I know that, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
So before we even get into that, Mark, who are you at Bobbi Brown?
Yes, who am I? I'm just a guy who's here to do Parizaad's makeup. No, I'm Mark Regan. I am the Global Director of Artistry at Bobbi Brown. And I started at a makeup counter and made my way up to where I am now. I've been with the brand for 12 years. So I've done a little of everything. I do a lot of travel, as you do. You go back and forth to India, Bombay, and so that's one place I haven't been to. Hopefully I get to go there. Yeah, sometime soon. But
we're gonna see you there.
But I kind of you'll find me all over the place.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So what should we do first? Because there's always one place that someone wants to start.
I feel I could use some help with the under eyes.
Okay.
I've been, like we discussed, I've been flying from Bombay to New York. I'm a little jet lagged. I feel my under eyes are a little puffy and darker than usual. So
travel never helps.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it easy. And we were talking about what solutions we have, right? Even just for the travel or not, which is Bobbi has, but what do? It's, you have to catch up on your sleep. You have to drink water, keep hydrated, but those are hard things to do. And that's where makeup comes into play, because it can be very handy just to have the right type of makeup to touch up, to conceal darkness. So what we're going to do is I want to show you Bobbi's corrector, which is in dark peach. Now there are a bunch of correctors, whether it's a pink base, which is called bisque, or a peach base, which is actually a peach color. And what this does is it instantly brightens and neutralizes the darkness that you see.
And typically what sort of color would you use for Indian skin tones?
A lot of Indian women will actually reach for a peach, and that's not necessarily based on the skin color in the face, but based on the color of darkness under the eye. So if you're seeing a lot more of a gray under the eye, then definitely a peach is going to be the color that neutralizes and lifts that darkness so that you have more of a clean, brightened under eye skin tone, and then what you do is you follow with your concealer on top.
Okay. And Mark, I can feel that you're putting down really light layers.
Yes.
So how does one apply this product?
You know, I know especially for Indian women, a lot of the Indian women that I've worked with, when we get to corrector concealer, the question is always, well, you know, I've lived with darkness for so long, how much do we really need to cover? Because
Right.
I'm kind of comfortable with it, but I also know it can help. So
Yeah.
where do you find that happy medium?
I totally agree with you because I so often I just skip the step because I feel that when I put it on, and maybe I'm not doing it right, but when I put it on, I feel like you know, I feel really concealed.
Right.
So just when I want to be more natural, I skip that step.
So
But
actually,
you're,
what
you're
happens?
gonna teach
I'm
me
gonna
not
teach you
how to not skip it.
exactly. So take a look at the difference, just how it
Oh.
neutralizes.
And this is just the corrector.
That's just the
Oh,
corrector.
amazing. Okay.
And the corrector, in some cases, you can use it on its own. In other cases, I would say most cases, you need a concealer on top. And the only real difference is the formulas are the same. It's the color family
Right.
in which we separate. So correctors are that pink or peach, and then concealers are your skin tone, but a little bit brighter. So what I'm doing is layering that right on top. And the key to it not looking heavy is using an eye cream. Now, of course, we use Bobbi's eye cream, but any type of hydration is going to help the makeup glide on easily, sit better on the skin, really just melt into the skin so that it looks like it belongs to your face, which is most important, that it
Right.
doesn't look like makeup, it just looks like an enhancement of your skin tone.
And that is also kind of like a founding philosophy of Bobbi Brown Cosmetics, right? About makeup enhancing.
Absolutely,
You know,
yeah.
rather than
It's not
totally-
masking, it's
yeah,
not,
yeah.
you know, yeah, it's a form of covering, but it's really all about how are we highlighting your features. And I would say that, especially for Indian women, is, you know, darkness seems to be something that's part of the heritage. You know, it's hereditary. Sometimes you can't help it. So how much do you conceal? It's what you're comfortable with, what's right for you and your lifestyle, and also your personal makeup
Sure,
style,
sure,
right?
yeah.
And so first thing you see in the mirror should be, oh, I see how it brings out the features in my eyes, or, you know,
Right.
how does it enhance your face? And that's how you know you've used enough.
Perfect. Okay.
So take a look one side to the other. I'll do the other
Oh,
side real
wow.
quickly.
So
Difference?
such a dramatic difference.
Yeah.
Will you just show the camera?
Oh, yeah. So this is, let me just,
Big difference.
so what we'll do again, and I'm using a concealer blending brush. It's a flat paddle synthetic brush, and this gives you the ability to really glide the product on easily and get a single layer, very smooth, very effortless, and then you just use your finger to gently press in the makeup. Try not to do a lot of tugging, a lot of over blending, because you don't want to tug on your skin under your eye. You want to be gentle.
And that's typically the area where it's the thinnest skin.
It's the
right?
thinnest skin, most sensitive, and what happens is if you over blend it, you defeat the purpose of covering,
Absolutely.
and you're no longer concealing. So you don't want to take the product away. And you can see, just keep it simple, and really once you find the right colors, you'll be able to do this in a minute. Throw it on, you'll know how much is right for you, and there you go.
Oh, so can I come here every morning? Can you just quickly do my under eye?
Well, we're teaching you now, so you're going to be able to do it tomorrow morning,
Oh,
right away.
Okay.
So,
Very great.
Mark, you talked about finding the right color. Makes, you know, the process super easy. A lot of the Nykaa fans want to know, how do you find the right shade of foundation and concealer
Right.
for you?
That is always the question. And one of the things you want to do is when you pick up a color, you know, a lot of times women will look at a color through a bottle or look at it on their hand. You have to swatch the face. And you have to make sure that when, I'll show you one of our artist tools, but this is actually available to you in stick form. But one of our artist tools is this BBU palette. You can see the breadth of foundation colors in which we make, which is a broad range. And you always want to swatch right along the cheek and make sure that that color blends in and corrects what you're trying to conceal. So whether it's redness, whether it's just an even skin tone, or you're actually trying to cover up maybe darker spots, make sure you're swatching over that so you can see how it works with the skin tone.
Brilliant. Okay. And
Here we go. So they come like this,
Oh.
the skin foundation stick.
and they look really portable, great for touch-ups
Super
on the go.
portable,
Yeah.
amazing for touching up, amazing for building coverage. And I think that that's what makes it so beautiful. All of Bobbi's textures, formulas, they're so easy to use, and you can build a lot of those
Right.
cream bases.
And can it go from sheer to full?
Yep, you can absolutely shear it out. If you want to dab a little bit of moisturizer in it, you can do that too. So that makes it really easy.
Great. And another thing we were talking about, Mark, is trying to correct skin tone concerns in your women where pigmentation and things like that, those concerns are pretty big.
Yes.
So around the mouth,
Yep.
around the corners of the nose and areas like that, how do you typically do that?
Well, the first thing is lay the foundation down. Apply the foundation that you plan on using for the entire complexion first. See how much that does, because I think our first instinct is cover really well, cover full coverage with our small concerns. But those concerns are just personal to us,
Right.
so really treat the whole face first, and then target where you might want a little extra coverage. Now I'm going to grab this tray that has our retouching products on it. And these are great tools, especially for women who just want to target and focus those areas of concern. So for instance, like the retouching wand is beautiful for giving more of that perfected, flawless complexion. And you twist it up and you can apply it straight to the skin. Wherever you think you need maybe a little more coverage, a little extra brightness, depends on what color you're using, and you just blend it right in.
Perfect. So it sits right on top of your foundation.
Sits right on top of your foundation. You can use it on the go. You can use it to touch up throughout the day. You can use it under the eye. I mean, wherever really you see that you want a little extra coverage.
And
then
what
the other
shade is
option,
Parizaad?
Medium. And what we used was actually honey in long wear even finish foundation SPF 15. Yeah, and this is an oil-free formula. You get 12 hours of wear. Your first concern was what's going to hold up in humidity, humid climates.
Absolutely.
This is a great formula for that.
I think that's also a question that women haven't. Please, ladies, share your questions with Mark. As you can see, he's quite the pro, and he's going to be able to help with whatever concerns you have. So I know that a lot of women feel that they put their foundation on, and then by midday it's kind of almost gone because of the weather and the humidity.
Yes.
Right. So how would
One of the main things is if you know you're experiencing that as a problem, to make sure you're setting your foundation with a powder. And whether that be a matte face powder or an illuminating powder, like I pulled out our brightening finishing powder because this is really popular. It absorbs excess shine, but it still keeps the skin looking luminous.
right?
And this is also a really good option if you just need a little bit of oil control, but just want to tone down the unwanted shine.
Yeah, we do need that in
Yeah.
India. Yeah. Oil control is always
A
an issue,
concern.
And we've gotten a lot of questions about oily foundation, and so is this good for people who have oily skin?
People who have oily skin but actually don't want a matte or flat finish.
Absolutely.
Yeah, otherwise you can reach for a matte powder and that will work perfectly fine right on top of the foundation.
So the finish that you get with this is kind of dewy and glowy, and that's I assume what everyone really wants, to look fresh and kind of that lit from
Yeah,
within. Right?
absolutely. People always want to look fresh. They always want to look, they never want to look dull, right? And that's what your foundation should give you, but also the products that you use with your foundation. And what I'm doing just to finish off the concealer is the concealer kit comes with a setting powder that you can use just to keep the concealer in place, and it gives that natural finish to the skin so that your under eye doesn't stay shiny, because that's really important for it to stay in place. The other thing is it's going to help with our eye makeup that we're going to talk about, because some of the questions that we've been getting, or the question that I get the most, is how do you keep eyeliner in place? How do you keep your eye makeup in place if you're using creamy formulas? This is one of the ways that you do that, is really making sure you're using a powder to set your makeup.
And so the powder helps set the concealer also for full day wear.
Yep, helps set the concealer, keeps it long wear. And it's also great if you're not going to wear anything else on your eyes, you just want to throw mascara on, it actually soaks up excess oil, so you can also apply it to your eyelid. Yeah, lots of advantages and multi-purpose uses.
Amazing.
So what are we doing next?
I think we're going to go into eyes,
Oh,
right?
I'm excited.
Yeah. So what kind of questions do you have for me about eyes?
Well,
Brows, right? We've been getting a lot of questions on Facebook Live about how do I define my brows, how do I make them look thicker.
and I think even more now, because brows have been such a huge trend for, season after season. We're looking at brows, thicker brows, prominent brows. So talk to us a little bit about brows.
Absolutely.
And what
I think brows in particular, we thought maybe it's just like a season to season trend. No, this thing
It's not going away.
It has stuck around, and quite honestly, I'm glad, because most of us are born with a fuller brow. It's nice to see a trend that actually works for everyone in a much more natural way. But of course, you want to groom them, as you do very well, and make sure that you are keeping a shape to your eyebrow that really lifts the eye open. So I know that another question we'll get from Indian women with the same respect to humid climates, long wear, is what's going to stay on all day.
And also, Indian women typically do have like thicker brows and beautifully defined brows. What is the use of a product to further define it and further kind of make the brow look fuller?
Yeah, absolutely. There are a couple ways. So if you already have a fuller brow, some products are better for you than others. And the Longwear Brow Gel that we have just came out last year is kind of amazing for fuller brow, because it doesn't over define the brow. It just adds a gel texture tint to the areas that are lacking. So there's just maybe the edges that need a little extra definition along the body of the brow. You can define top and bottom, and what really you should focus on is the lift and the arch in the brow, so that you're really opening the eye up, drawing the eye up.
And what brush are you using, Mark?
I am using the Combo Brow Definer and Brow Groomer. It's a dual-ended brush, and it has the perfect applicator, which is a blend of synthetic and natural hairs for the brow gel, and then just to brush the hairs in the right direction and comb the product through, you have the brow groomer on the other side.
And I can feel you're doing like soft individual strokes.
Soft individual strokes. I think that one thing that women can learn is to be really deliberate with where they're placing product and not kind of just run on autopilot. You know, one of the things they want to do.
We do that sometimes.
Yeah, but actually look, take a step back, take 2 seconds, see where you need definition, and just add it there. And there you can see. Take a look in the mirror.
Oh, it just looks so much fuller.
Yeah.
Let me just look into the camera so you can see the
Can you guys see it?
difference. Yeah.
So what we're going to do, again, each brow is a little bit different. We always say they're sisters, not twins, right? But we try to get them to look as similar as possible. And again, I'm going to focus much more on where Parizaad is missing some hair, and that's where you want to fill in first, and then pull some of that color through
So
the rest of the brow.
people do kind of have natural gaps in their brows, and
Yep.
this helps.
This helps fill it in, but in a really natural way. The other advantage of the Longwear Brow Gel is that it has a 24-hour wear. What that means, though, is that it's not going to be this hard, crisp, waterproof type of finish. It's going to have a really flexible finish, something that actually looks natural. And that's a great benefit of this particular product.
Moves with the skin.
It moves with the skin, and it doesn't feel flat. It doesn't feel powdery.
Not like brow Botox.
Yeah, exactly, and it doesn't harden.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Take a look. Make sure you like it.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. So what's next?
I think
So a lot of people have questioned about liner, kajal. How do women like keep it on so it doesn't slide off?
Yep. So I want to do one thing, which is I'm just going to add a little bit of brightness to the eyelid with one of our Longwear cream shadow sticks in soft peach. This is a great color for a base for Indian women in particular, because the peachy tone with deeper eyelids really just neutralizes and brightens without it looking chalky or looking too white. You don't want that, but you do want to open the eye up. Then we're going to apply a touch of liner, and we'll finish with a little bit of shimmer. I want to show you a trick. The thing with kajal liner in particular is it's meant to be smudged, it's meant to be manipulated. And if you want to keep it in place, it makes it really difficult to just use it as a general eyeliner that is always going to move throughout the day. One of the things is making sure you powder under your eye.
right.
Anywhere that liner is meeting another feature on the skin, you need to make sure that's not wet and not moisturized.
So that'll help it from dripping down. Like
Correct.
Covering the under eye.
Yes.
Right?
So it will help with that. And what we're going to do, I'm going to do a little bit on top first. One of our philosophies is just make sure your eye makeup is balanced. And so oftentimes we'll line at least a little on top first so that we draw the eye up. And then we follow with extra definition on the bottom. And what I'm going to suggest is smudging the kajal so that it's not overly saturated and then encourages it to move around on the eye.
And what product are you using right now?
I'm using the kajal, we call it the Kajal Intense, Smoky Eye Kajal Liner, but it's a kajal pigment. It comes in various colors. The black is always most popular, and it has a smudger on the opposite end, and that makes it really easy to achieve this very sort of soft, smoky, sultry look. Look up for me, because I know that Indian women love liner on the bottom, and that's typically where some women will place it solely on the bottom.
Right.
So what we're going to do is smudge it right into the lash line and use the smudger to create that haze and that soft smokiness. And then what you can do to seal it all in is use a Longwear pencil in another black color, and that will ensure that you get a lot longer wear. Look down for me and look out that way. The great thing about kajal, though, is that your line does not have to be perfect because you're going to smudge it around. And I think that that's really helpful.
And Mark, would you say this is a good look for day wear, maybe going to the office?
For me, yeah, I think what we're doing is maybe a little bit more than some women will want for every day. But again, it's personal style, because the thing is, I've also worked with some Indian women, and they say, well, I wear black liner every day, and I wear it all around, and that's my day look. So it's really what's personal to you.
Right.
I wouldn't want to say everyone should wear this, but pick up the tips that really suit your personal style and your needs and what your biggest concern is too. So if you can see, take a look.
Oh, that is beautiful. The texture is so beautiful. It's like kind of just about smudgy.
Just smudgy enough.
It's a big difference.
Not quite smoky.
Right.
But
not sharp.
Yeah.
Exactly sharp.
Right.
So Mark, what's your favorite product to take a look from day to night?
My favorite product to take a look from day to night is probably, again, more eyeliner and just maybe a hint of shimmer or sparkle or something that illuminates the eye. The other thing that's really fun is if you're already using a black liner, try a color liner, something like a dark blue or a dark green, something that has a little pop to it and an accent for the eye without it being the main focus and that's all you see.
So you don't need a ton of products to take you from day to night.
You really don't need a ton of products. I think that's probably the misconception about makeup, is that the more products you use, the more dramatic it is. It can be, but it doesn't mean that that's what's right for you.
Right.
What's right for you is maybe layering in a shimmer brick on your cheeks, or layering more color or shimmer on your eye. Whatever you want to put the focus on, that's really where you should start.
And the look you've done now, you know, I guess women could just do that quickly, like it's a quick 10-minute look
Yeah.
in the office.
Yeah, on your way to the office, in the office.
Heading out for drinks or dinner.
The key is, you know, give yourself some practice too. I know that all of us refer to tutorials online. That's why we're here with you right now. But sometimes, you know, we think, well, we should be getting it as easily as those who are teaching us. And, you know, you got to give yourself some time to get used to the look, used to a technique, used to a product, and then you'll see it comes easier and easier.
Right. And what are your maybe 3 or 4 essentials for eyes that you would say should be in every woman's kit?
I think every woman should have a longwear pencil or longwear gel liner, which is an original from Bobbi.
So a lot of women have been asking about, you know, how do I keep it on longer? And so what makes our longwear special, Mark?
Our longwear formulas instantly set on the skin and actually last 12 hours, or if not longer. Some people will go the entire morning to night and have no problems with it. But that's really the key, is having something that is truly long wearing but easy to use and gives you that time to work with it, smudge it, whatever you, however you want to manipulate. But you were saying, you know, what would be the 3 things? Definitely a longwear liner of some sort, pencil, gel. Can't go wrong with the classic gel.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah, can't go wrong with that. Some sort of longwear cream shadow stick like I used in Soft Peach, or something has a little shimmer to it, a little bit of color. We have a lot of different colors, as you can see, so. And yeah, give yourself the easy options that are quick on the go.
Right.
And then an option to also bump it up a bit for night.
So mascara.
So we're just going to do mascara, and then we'll move on to completing the look.
Which one are you using?
I am using the eye-opening mascara, which has a really large wand, but it's great because it brushes through every single lash, and it actually curls the lash. It gives it double the amount of natural curl and instantly doubles the volume.
Okay, and is this, oh wow. Is this good for day or night or both?
I think both. I think because you can build it up, you can keep it really natural, you can do one light coating and that'll be enough. But for some of you, you'll do 2 to 3 coats because you really want your eyes to stand out. And this is definitely the reason it's called eye-opening mascara, is because instantly your eye looks open, it looks defined, and your lashes just look luscious.
Perfect. And do you use it only on the top?
You can use on bottom too, yeah. So whatever your style is. You have really long lashes on the bottom, so I'm going to do a very light coat. And then we can show everyone just doing this, defining the eyes. How much that does. And if you want just a touch of shimmer, you can layer that right on top, and then you're done. Keep it really simple. Okay.
Gorgeous.
Perfect.
So I think the last thing, we're kind of running out of time, but we
Yep.
definitely want to show you how to get the Bobbi glow.
Yep.
So what are the products you have
Okay.
for us, Mark?
Key products. A little bit of bronzer. And we've been talking about this because bronzing definitely, it's not always about adding color to deepen the skin. It's about adding warmth and dimension. So smile for me. We're going to apply it in the similar areas that we would apply blush, just to give the skin a little tint, a little bit of warmth. We're not necessarily going for a suntan, but we're going for a healthy complexion.
Right. And this is a bronzing powder.
It's a bronzing powder, and we're using Elvis Duran. Smile for me again. And you can see how instantly it just brings a little bit of added dimension to the skin. Anywhere that the high points of the face that the sun might hit.
Right. So it can cheat like a little bit of a vacation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tan.
A little fresher feel to it, a little sun-kissed feel. And then smile for me. We're gonna add a pop of color. So that's any color of blush that just doesn't have a lot of brown in it. And when you pair that with a bronzer, you'll see that the bronzer brings in this enhanced feel to the shape of the face. And then the blush just brings the cheek forward so that you have a really healthy, beautiful flush.
Right.
And what color are you using?
Yeah.
And I'm using Nectar.
And what colors are good for Indian? Like, what are the color families we should be looking for?
So one of the things you should be looking for, maybe things that are a hybrid pink coral. That's really nice. Brighter pinks and plums work really well. Plums work well, especially if you like more of that deeper plum tone lip.
Right.
It's a good pairing. And then I would just go with berries as well. Berries for any of the medium to darker skins work beautifully.
And what brush are you using for the blush?
I'm using the sheer powder brush, and I'm using sheer powder brush because it gives a very soft application. So for some of you who don't have a lot of success in blending your blush out, that's an easy tool to use.
Oh, perfect.
And we
it
were
brings so much warmth.
Right?
Yeah.
And we were talking about the Bobbi Glow, and of course, you can't have Bobbi Glow without Bobbi Shimmer Brick.
What does this do, Mark?
Smile for me. It brings a highlight instantly to the high points of the cheek. It gives a little bit of color. It's definitely an original product that was created from backstage at Fashion Week. And all of these are still hand-baked in Italy.
And what shade are you using?
I'm using Nectar because it was a nice compliment for the blush.
Gorgeous.
Perfect.
And a cool tip is if you want to use this before your blush, you can use that, and then you get a lit from within glow. Layer of blush on top, and then the highlight comes through.
That's a great tip. So does that kind of tone it down a little bit? If you
tone-
want something more subtle?
Yep, it tones it down, it makes it more subtle, makes it more seamless.
Perfect.
And the last thing would be lips.
Yeah. So I showed a couple lip colors to you, and you instantly went to one over the other.
I did. I loved this one.
Do you want to throw it on?
Let's
Here,
let's
put it
try
on. Experience it for yourself. Throw it on.
And,
It's called.
what lipstick is
It's called Luxe Lip Color in Brocade, and it's definitely becoming one of our popular shades for that instant pop and still very modern, chic color for the lip. And don't worry if you mess up, it's makeup.
And what are some other good shades of Luxe Lip for Indian women, Mark?
Plums, definitely, if you want an option for bright colors, something like hot rose, but there's also that classic nude color like neutral rose that's super popular and will look really pretty on Indian women. The other colors are things that have more of a cocoa tone because that picks up the natural colors that you see in the lips that might be less pink and have more of a depth to it. So it just has a little more brown to it, but that can also look really pretty.
And if you have darker colored lips, what can you do to make sure you get a really true color payoff?
I think one thing is work with the lip color, not against it. So look for these types of colors that have more depth to them, not colors that have more white in them. The more white you have, the more chalky it will look on the lip.
So don't fight your lip color.
Don't fight your lip color. It's beautiful as it is, but really find colors that have enough depth and color saturation in them.
And what about nudes? Then how can women that have slightly pigmented lips use nudes successfully?
I think that honestly, it's making sure you balance the look out. Make sure you have a little bit of blush color. Don't look washed out. Don't let yourself look washed out. And then define your eyes. Put your focus somewhere so that your makeup looks nice and balanced.
Oh, this
What do you
color
think?
is amazing.
And it's called Brocade, the color.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous. So I think that's everything.
So I think this
You
is
feel
perfect.
good?
I am.
Most
I'm
importantly.
feeling fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So thanks so much, Mark, and thank you for answering all our viewers' questions, and thanks for having me and for this beautiful look. And
My pleasure.
Yeah, if
we're
you
gonna
guys
have you back on soon.
if you
I'd
guys
be
have
happy to
any
come
other
back.
questions, you can leave them for the Nykaa team in the comments section.
Thanks,
everyone.
Nykaa.
Thank you. Bye.